recording this session, so that means a couple of things. Number one, you don't need access to the presentation. We will make sure that you have access to the presentation after, as well as the recording after this webinar, and you should be sent a link to do that, to get that information shortly. Second, at the end of this presentation, there should be a short survey that you can answer, and it really just helps us provide better webinars in the future. It's really just a couple of questions that will appear once you exit the webinar. So we'd really appreciate it if you take a minute to take a look at that survey. It really is pretty quick, and it really helps us to know what you're interested in or how you felt about the webinar, so that I can get better and our team can provide more value to you. So thanks again for joining us today. I think that's oh, one more thing. You can hear me. I hope that you can hear me just well, but I can't hear you. Because it's a webinar, I won't be able to hear you talking, so you can't ask me questions during the webinar. However, there is a chat feature that you can use to be able to ask me questions, or is it a questions feature? You should have a panel. Yeah, it's a chat feature. You should have a panel where you can ask me questions, and I can answer them in line, whether it be directly to you or to the group at large. So I'll be taking a look at that at the end of the webinar, but don't hesitate to ask me questions throughout. And if I've already answered them, I'll let you know that. But that's a way for you to interact with me and our team on the webinar. So let's get started properly. Thanks again. Just to really focus you on really what the goal of this is in this whole webinar, is to talk about maximizing your marketing return on investment. And we really think about this as a online marketing company to really help you figure out how do you best spend your marketing dollars. And you, as a practitioner, or maybe you're in the front office, or maybe you're in the marketing department at your dental office or other medical office, and you spend your money in different ways, and you want to know, how can I maximize that? How do I know it's working? And so we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about the marketing return on investment problem. We in the industry call it ROI all the time, but really just talk about some of the common challenges that small businesses, and particularly dental practices, face. I'll also spend a little bit of time just laying out the landscape of traditional versus digital advertising and digital marketing. And I do believe that there's subtle differences between advertising and marketing, but use the terms interchangeably. Third, we're going to talk about some online marketing activity options, different ways that you can do online marketing to help grow your business. And that's the overall short presentation that we have to hopefully get you to think about some of the things that you can do to really focus on getting patients. As a matter of fact, the marketing return on investment problem is not a new problem. As far back as the late 1800s, John Wanamaker, who's really considered to be the father of advertising, had this quote, and we use this a lot: half the money I spend on advertising is wasted. The trouble is I don't know which half. And that's really not something that's new, that you as a small business or even big businesses spend money on advertising, and if not well spent, you feel like you've wasted money. You can't determine whether or not people actually saw your marketing activities, whether or not that caused them to actually show up at your office or call you, whether or not you should do direct mail, or whether or not you should do flyers, or whether or not you should increase in different online activities. I mean, it's not a new problem, because even traditional advertising faces a similar problem. It was really, I saw a stat that showed that big companies allocate 60% of their media budget to television, when only 18% of that advertising generates a positive return on investment. That's a pretty amazing statement. And it shows that, a lot of companies over the years have been really willing to do what it takes, because even an 18% ROI is not bad. But what if you could spend $1 on your advertising and know that you can always get $6 back in terms of benefit? That's really what the goal is in solving the ROI problem. In fact, the core objective in measuring return on investment of your marketing initiatives is to prioritize your investment in different communication channels in ways that maximize the returns for your practice. So think about it as, I know what I want to do. I know what's important to me. Here are the different communication channels. Which ones provide, or the different marketing vehicles, which one provides the maximum return for my practice, and keep doing those until they don't work as well as others. And it's not an easy thing to do. There's a study that was done for small businesses as well as dentists that talked about this challenge of getting new patients. And you can take a look at this, and it's really interesting. When asked, what are huge challenges in being able to get new patients? What are some of those challenges? And unless your practice is on autopilot, you spend a lot of effort thinking about, how do I fill up my calendar? How do I get new patients to be here? And it's not new, or it's not something that is unique to you. But when asked about the challenges, the first, the largest one is 55% of them said time to get everything done. As a small business owner and dentist, or front office help assistant, or office manager, there are so many things that a dental practice has to do, from making sure patients are happy, from making sure that your practice management system is working well, that your equipment is working well and is current, that your facility is great. This is, some of the things that many companies have multiple people doing, and the whole reason that you're in this is because you wanted to help people feel better. This time to get everything done is really the number one thing. For a small business, or for a dental practice, managing everything yourself is really a huge challenge. And so those first two items focus on time, how much time I have. The next one, 40%, is money to invest in my ideas. You allocate certain amount of money to equipment and payroll, and your own salary, as well as your bill, some of your rent or lease that you have to pay, and then you have some amount of money in marketing. And you have a lot of ideas, or you've gone to trade shows, or you hear from companies like mine that say, well, you should buy this or you should buy that. And there's so many different ways to spend your marketing dollars that it's hard to figure out what the right thing to do. If you look at the next two, generating quality leads and converting these leads into customers, this actually is the core of what we're going to talk about today. And if you look at the last one, 30% of people say marketing expertise. It's really, really not easy, and to be able to figure out, the most important thing is generating quality leads, high quality people who meet the goals that you want in terms of people customers coming into your practice, and then getting them to convert into customers. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about that. But it all comes down to this. It's time, money, and expertise in being able to get new patients. And some of those things, if they're not operating in harmony, can be difficult to manage. I just want to spend a minute talking about traditional marketing activities, and to let you know that traditional marketing activities are considered to be offline or not internet-based activities. The number one, and probably the most important, is customer referrals or word of mouth. If you ask anyone, where do you get your leads from? Almost everyone will say word of mouth. Yes, there's other ways to do it, but word of mouth is still king in terms of getting new patients. And that means a lot in the online world. And I won't spend that much time talking about it, but I really want you to consider that word of mouth in the online world is changing, in that people are still talking about you, but they're talking about you and your practice online. So word of mouth may be a comment on Yelp, or a comment by somebody on their Facebook page about a good experience or bad experience that they had working with you, or visiting you in your practice, or having an appointment. So it's not just me talking to my family, it's me commenting about your practice to hundreds, maybe even thousands of people at any one time. So you cannot underestimate the power of word-of-mouth referrals in the online world. Next is networking. People, many dentists and most of you still do networking, and that's still a powerful way. Going to events or event sponsorships. Some 20% use direct mail and flyers, and then you see print ads, and some small group of people use TV primarily or radio ads, and then other lead generation methods. So these are considered to be traditional marketing activities that customers or that dental practices use to get new patients. Now I'll talk about really these are actually some of the most common traditional marketing tools. Number one being yellow pages. I talked to a dentist yesterday who talked to me at length about yellow pages and how that is changing and dying, even though all of us has still at home at least one copy of a yellow page is sitting in our hall closet. Practice brochures are still important, direct mail, print ads, newsletter, and radio. So I talked a little bit about that, but these are the most common traditional marketing activities, and there's nothing wrong with it. In fact, it's an important component of a good marketing strategy. So you won't hear me say, you need to abandon these. You need to stop doing direct mail, or you need to stop doing a newsletter. As a matter of fact, you should keep doing a newsletter. Or print ads. These are still powerful tools, but what's important to note is that digital or online marketing is taking off. There was a study done by Microsoft that talked about this, and there was a number of very interesting components. First of all, when they studied the digital marketing or online marketing compared to traditional offline marketing, two facts. Number one, online marketing outperforms all forms of traditional advertising. They found that, digital marketing outperforms TV, print, radio, all of the traditional advertising methods. Number two, combining both traditional marketing and digital marketing results in the highest return on investment. So that really tells you that digital marketing or online marketing isn't an either-or strategy, but you should think about blending your traditional advertising with online marketing. So if you have a business or if your practice is focused 90% on traditional advertising, you should consider migrating your budgets in favor of online advertising. And when we talk to customers about it, it's really important to note that a lot of times online marketing companies are not telling you that it's not a question of go spend more money on website search engine optimization or some other online method, but it's really, let's take a look at your marketing dollars and figure out the way to maximize it by having a blend of both and starting to migrate these same dollars that you're spending on print or direct mail or other or flyers, start to migrate that to online so that you can maximize that investment. So I kind of mentioned it, but here are the most common online marketing tools. Number one is your website. And I say this all the time, and I don't know if you're, who I'm talking to is a current customer of Prosites or a different company, or it's just important. If you don't have a website, please contact us and get a website right away, because it's the hub of everything you do. And you must have a website to have presence in the online world. There are other ways to do it, and like Facebook, but as a dentist who's focused on growing your practice, a compelling website is important. And I'll talk a little bit about that. Number two is Facebook. We'll spend a little bit of time talking about Facebook. Number three is Google. Then smaller is Twitter, YouTube, Yelp, and Pinterest. So you can see that in terms of use, having a website and Facebook page are very important hubs in making sure that you have a really good online presence. So there's some rules or some things that I'd just like to make sure I talk to you about. First of all, you have to understand that online marketing activities are interconnected. I'll see if I can explain it to you this way. If you decide that you want to put a flyer for everyone in your neighborhood or everyone within a 20-mile radius of your practice, you can do that as a standalone activity. You can even track the success of that flyer through a different phone number that's used or some other ways of being able to see response. But that's a single event and it stands alone. But online marketing activities are really interconnected because it's really one online world. So if you have a really strong website, but your social media presence is really bad because, or your reviews are really bad because you have problems with patient satisfaction, or you have a problem in your front office, the location is very bad, or whatever it is, that affects your entire online presence. So the online marketing activities, the thing you do, with one component is interconnected with another component, and you must think about them holistically. First of all, second of all, you can't just say I have a website. Well, I guess it's just you can't just say I have a website and I'm done. If you have a website that's not optimized by an SEO team, your website's not found, and you want your website to be found. So having a strong social media presence can backfire if they go to your website and they go to search for your website, or they go search for your business and they can't find you. So you really need to have a multi-pronged strategy to implementing your online market presence. When Prosites started many years ago, it was just people wanted to have a website, and that was really great. But now you have to really think about supercharging that website with other components. You also must pay attention to the feedback loop. That means you have to be listening to what people are saying about you. That means looking at your reviews, responding to Yelp reviews, making sure that you're watching the engagement on your Facebook page, so that you get you're constantly getting feedback about your practice in the online world, and you want to make sure that someone is monitoring that. You also get the opportunity to have real-time data. It's, as I talked about, having a flyer does provide you can track other forms of advertising, but with online activities, you can get real-time data about the performance of your website, about the performance of your business, about the performance of some of your activities that you're doing. Also, number two, online marketing activities are also interrelated. Really, quite simply, what that means is if you're in the digital world or in the online world, you have to be in the world. You have to use multiple tools to maximize your potential marketing impact. So here's a graph that shows, just quite simply, if you have a website and Facebook, or if you have Facebook with and without a website. With a website, the usage of your particular tool or the engagement that you get is much higher than if you just have a Facebook account. And the same goes for Twitter and LinkedIn. So with and without a website, you can see the areas in green that combining the two together are very important, especially for professionals. You can get away with just having a Facebook page if you are a plumber, or if you run a mobile car wash. But as a professional, people are looking for a professional image, so that they know that I'm dealing with a professional practice and not someone who is just another person on the street. Third, and I talked about this a little bit, it's important, and you're able to do this in real time, to measure what matters. I say this oftentimes. You'll often find people who try to sell you things, who try to measure the easy parts. Like, I can guarantee you we'll get you, 20 clicks a day onto your website. And that's good. These things do matter, but they're not the most important component of online marketing. The most important thing is engagement. Clicks are nice. Engagement is valuable, but new patients are the goal. So you want to be able to go from clicks to engagement, people who did and people who have filled out a contact form, to people who actually become patients. Because at the end of the day, patients are the goal. Second, you have to determine what's important to you when you're figuring out what your strategy is. So if your strategy is, I don't really care how they come in, I just want more patients. It could be that you're just starting up your practice, or you've opened up a new office and you just want to start to get people in because you know that through word of mouth, more and more people will show up. Well, that determines how you want to market yourself in an online world. Or you may say, you know what, I don't want to, I only want to do fee for service. So I don't, I'm not really interested in people who just want cleaning, or people who are just insurance, people who come in because that's low value to me. I want to market and brand myself as a fee-for-service practice. Or you may decide, I want long-term patients. All of those things, if you think about what your goals are and you set those goals, that helps you determine how you set up your marketing campaign. Goals that go deeper than just outcome, it helps you really understand exactly what's important to you. So really think about what that is. I know a doctor who has a good list of patients. He wants to just keep those patients, and that he has, he's really not interested in, growing by 20% a year or opening a new office. That helps him determine how much money and how he spends his online marketing dollars. So now let's talk a little bit about the online marketing components. The first one, and I talked about this before, is your website. Think of the website as the hub of, no matter what your components are, everyone should come to your website, whether it be to your home page or a pay-per-click landing page that's specific to a specific service or specialty that you have. You want them to come to your website because you can measure things from your website. You can measure how many people are coming to you and showing interest in you through your website. And your website should have a compelling current style. I know a lot of customers and a lot of practices who set up a website 4, 5, 6 years ago. You haven't updated the style, or it may still look nice, but companies like ours provide ways for you to easily change your style to something that's more current, the theme to something that's more current, as well as do custom website development if your business has grown to that point where you really now want to have a unique look and a unique style about your practice. So make sure that your website is compelling. Make sure that it reflects your practice and specialties. So if you are really focused on implant surgery, or if you're focused on veneers, make sure that that's communicated very well on your website page. You want to make sure that your website works on all devices, and you can really easily see that if you either should have, and we call this in the software world or the online marketing world, either responsive or adaptive mobile presence. Either one of them will work. But if you look at your website on a phone or a tablet and you have to scroll left or right to see the rest of the content, then you are not mobile optimized, and you need to make sure that you are. So make sure if you're a customer of ours, you talk to us about that, so that we can ensure that your site works on all devices, because more and more people are searching, by a vast majority, are searching for businesses or practices or dental help on their mobile phone. And lastly, and this is important, it has to have confidence that builds trust and answers questions. And I think you guys all know that that's important. Just having a website that says I am here and meet the doctor is okay, but you really want to make sure that the content that provides answers to customers builds trust in you as a serious professional. So here's an example, and I had more, but I'll just, just for the sake of time, quickly go through this one. Here's an example of a doctor, a customer of ours, who is setting up a certain presence. This is a doctor, and maybe your eyes don't go to it right away, but mine does. Biocompatible and cosmetic dentistry. Now, I'm sure that I can go into Dr. Zeta's practice and get teeth cleaning, but this says I am a professional that does high-end cosmetic dentistry, and that's important to her. Notice that it has a nice style, a nice picture, and the specialties and the information that she is trying to communicate are shown right on the navigation bar. She also has a great picture of herself, because, by the way, the #1 page that consumers go to look at a dental website is the home page. The #2 page is Meet the Doctor. #3 page is Tour the Office or About the Staff. So they're really interested when they first coming into your website, in your practice and you and your team. And that's really important that shows well, because that's what helps people make decisions. The relationship that they perceive through your website is very important. And then notice that she put schedule an exam right there on the front of the page, because that helps when you're dealing with trying to make for people who are mobile and they just want to, quickly schedule a visit. So that's a really compelling style for her. So the website is number one. The next is search engine optimization. We call it SEO if you don't know that already. I'm sure you've heard about it all the time. But really, I want to make sure that it's pretty clear what SEO is. If someone searches for your practice or searches for dentists near me or dentists near me who do implants, you want to maximize the number of people who see your website through search engine optimization. And so it's the process of maximizing the number of visitors to a website by ensuring that that site, your site, appears high on the list of results that are returned by Google or Bing or Yahoo. And search engine optimization is both art and science, and it comes down to making sure that your site is valued by Google or Bing or Yahoo when someone searches for something that you should have. So it involves strategies or changes or management of your website, both inside the website page and then outside of the website page. And it helps your practice get noticed by prospective patients. I will point out, and if anyone's told you this, including our team, that SEO guarantees patients, it does not. SEO, search engine optimization, is an ongoing strategy to make sure that you show up early in the search results in Google and Bing and Yahoo. And really it comes down to this. One of the most important things is regularly updating your content, which shows that you're current, and making sure that keywords or key phrases that a person would enter in your area who be most likely to come to your practice or to inquire about your practice shows up inside your website. And you can do this yourself or you can hire a company to do it, but it's important if you're going to be found. If you know, by the way, this is not something you probably can do, but sometimes go to another computer and type in your practice name, or type in, if you're nearby your office, type in the, something that you do, dentist with implants, and see if you show up on page 1, 2, 3, or 4 of the results. And if you're not doing search engine optimization, chances are your website will not be found. Now, if you're in a really rural area and you're the only dentist in town, then you're going to show up. But if you're in a competitive market, you want to make sure that you're doing search engine optimization because your competitors are doing it. So here's some tips for search engine optimization. Number one, make sure that your content, the content in your website, these are on your website pages, make sure that it's descriptive and interesting. So the way search engines work is they're constantly scanning your website pages to see if something's changed, if something's relevant to the keywords that people are searching for, and that helps them determine which websites or which URLs to display on search engine results. So if you haven't changed your website or updated your content in 3 years, guess what? They're going to assume that your business is not as valuable as as one of your competitors who may be constantly changing their content. You want to use key phrases, and we can talk a lot about that. What you don't want to do is, so for instance, and this used to work many years ago, if you want people to find you because you focus on cosmetic dentistry, is that someone would take a page, maybe a blank page, and just put the words cosmetic dentistry 1,000 times on that page. Google and the other search engines got smart about that, and so they kind of discount those pages. You really want to make sure that it's content that actually reflects your business. You should use your Facebook page to drive people to your website. As I talked about, regularly update your content. Make sure that you optimize your business listings on Google Plus and Yelp. And there are a lot of other strategies that, I think we have search engine optimization webinars that you can take a look at. But you really want to make sure that you are maximizing your investment in a website by using search engine optimization. And experts like Prosites can help with that too. Here's just a quick picture of metrics with respect to search engine optimization. It's kind of difficult to read out of context, but this really shows two different graphs. One, the number of times people went to a website in January versus February. So this particular customer had 261 people come to their website in February and 250 in January. 694 page views, people looking at their pages. That means, on average, people looked at 3 pages of their website, and guess which 3 pages they were likely? Home page, meet the doctor, tour, meet the staff. The bounce rate, which is 45%, bounce rate reflects the number of people who came onto the home page and then left. That may be a good thing or it may be a bad thing. You could have your current patients go to your website and get the phone number and then leave. That's okay. You really want to make sure that your bounce rate is not in the 90s, because then you may have a problem with people who don't like your website at all. But 45% is pretty normal. Then we can show you how people are coming to your website, whether through organic search or search engine optimization, whether or not they're just typing in your URL directly or coming through your Facebook page or some other referral site. And then we can show you the top pages. In this particular case, the top page was the home page, Our Practice / Meet the Doctor. So here's someone who's combined those pages. And then third is contact. You really want contact on appointments, people coming in. But here, just be clear, 30 people in that month time frame for this particular doctor, and I don't know which one it was, but filled out an appointment request. That's great. That pays for your search engine optimization right there. Another online marketing tool is pay-per-click advertising. I think that many people now know pay-per-click advertising. It's called PPC. In the Google world, it's called Google AdWords, and Google has the dominant share of this market. I think now over 80% of the people who use pay-per-click advertising on the internet use Google, and the rest are spread between Bing, Yahoo, and some other search engines. But really, it's an advertising model that helps to direct traffic to websites in which you pay Google or any search engine anytime your ad is clicked. Not anytime your ad appears, but only when the ad is clicked and someone goes to your website. And you pay some number from pennies to dollars every time your ad is clicked. And there's a really interesting, discussion about pay-per-click, and I think we also have a webinar on that. But it involves bidding on keyword phrases. It's really a powerful marketing tool because it's really what's called permission-based marketing, because you're not advertising to someone who's not interested. You're actually only showing an ad for someone who's actually searched for things that you do. So if someone searches for dental implant, that means they're interested in dental implants rather than you just popping up an ad somewhere on a web page that says dental implants to some 1,000 people with the hopes that maybe one of them would be interested in it. So there's some powerful, really important benefits to having a pay-per-click campaign. Some of them include you get to determine how much you spend. You set your own budget each month. So for instance, if your office is closed in August, you don't have to spend money on pay-per-click advertising for people who fill out a contact form that you're not going to answer. You get immediate results from day one, which is different from search engine optimization, which takes time for the search engine algorithms to recognize changes. It's really measurable, because you can see how many people clicked, how many people went, to your website. It's really a cost-effective way to be able to get people or potential patients to come to your website and look at your business. Some tips, just in terms of, just quick tips in terms of spending money on search engine and on pay-per-click advertising. You really want to start small. If someone says that you have to sign up for a 2-year contract, you probably don't want to go with them. Make sure you know who your campaign manager is, because more and more companies now are doing automated pay-per-click advertising management, and you want to actually have a campaign manager. Every every search engine, every pay-per-click advertising model has a dashboard, because that's how agencies or companies like ours, determine performance. Make sure you learn how to read it. Doesn't mean that you have to do the work, but make sure you know where your money is being spent. And make sure you spend enough money. One thing about pay-per-click advertising is that it's a bidding system. So if you decide I'm only going to spend $30 a month, and the average cost per click is $10, that means you're going to maybe get placed, or you're going to get 3 leads in a given month, if you get shown at all, because other people are bidding more money. So you want to make sure that you spend enough money, and then you manage that money. And lastly, know how much of your monthly fee is for going directly to the spend, because a lot of companies say, well, I'll charge you $1,000 a month, and I'll get you this many leads. But really what they're doing is they're putting $300 a month in the Google AdWords campaign and keeping $700 for management fee. So you want to be able to make sure you know the difference between management fees and money that goes into your advertising spend. Just so, I should have done this at first, but just so you know, when I talk about pay-per-click advertising, it's the thing when you do a search. For instance, I have 2 different searches here: Manhattan dentist, because I'm in Manhattan, or dentist in Temecula, because I'm in Temecula, California. When I type that in and Google returns the results, those first 4 things that say ad, those are pay-per-click ads, meaning that when I click, if I click on one of those ads, for instance, if I clicked on NewYorkCityDentist.com, top New York City dentist, that company will pay Google some number of dollars for that click. I do want to make sure that you know that Google is really smart about clicks. So if you decide, you've got a competitor dentist down the street who does pay-per-click advertising, and you're just going to go click their ad 1,000 times to get them to make them spend money, Google is smart enough to know that you're doing that from one IP address and won't charge them. So, don't. That's something actually that used to happen too. So I think they've, I'm sure that they figured out how to do that. So that's not a way to be able to get your competitors to spend money. Lastly is social media advertising. Social media in this world is about Facebook, and it's estimated that social media advertising revenue will be almost $9 billion in 2016, and it's going to explode. So clearly, social media advertising is doing something right. As we all know, social media is a top internet activity, and people across all age groups are spending a lot amount of time on social media. I always joke that by the time I get to this point in the presentation, half of you right now are on Facebook, looking at your Facebook account and not actually listening. But it's a top internet activity, and you have a better chance, a growing chance of catching people's attention through social media advertising. So whether it's Facebook advertising or LinkedIn ads or some promoted tweets through Twitter, you'll need to optimize the use of their features. And you can actually get a really targeted way of advertising on a social media campaign. Most Google or search engine optimization is local, meaning that it's really focused on people around a certain radius. Social media advertising is taking that one step further, where you can say, I want to place an ad on people's Facebook pages who are within a 10-mile radius of my practice, who are women over the age of 30, between the hours of 3 and 4 o'clock, and then you pay. So you can target to reach a specific audience, and it's really, really cool way and growing way to be able to get people to engage with you. I just wanted to show you a quick example. Here's a cosmetic dentist, and these are actually ads. These are 2 ads that show up not on everyone's Facebook page, but on people who are most likely to be interested. On the left-hand side is an advertisement which just talks about, it's really a positioning ad that says, here is who we are. Here is our cosmetic dental services. There's a picture of the building, of inside the dental practice, and it really is called a professional ad, so that you can point someone to your particular website through Facebook. The second one is a coupon ad. Here is the same practice, which says, take advantage of our new patient special. We're offering 50% off cleanings till the end of April. So just think about this ad from what I said all the way in the front. Here is a practice that's decided that we want to get patients. Based on our neighborhood, we know that, that there's an opportunity for us to get a lot of patients who use Aetna, Sagacor, or Medicus, and we want to make sure that we get as many as possible. So this is how we will market to them. So it's, really a compelling way for you to look at social media advertising. Lastly, I'm just going to talk about measuring your marketing return on investment. As I said really early on, that it's really great to get clicks. It's really interesting to get people who are engaged in your website, but really you want to know what's working by tracking leads to revenue. So you want to track leads to patients and then patients to revenue. And the way you do that is by using your website as your marketing hub. You want to drive all potential patients to your website or through your phone. And by having a compelling website that's tracking your information, as well as establishing call tracking numbers for each one of your campaigns, so that if you do a pay-per-click campaign and you have a phone number on that ad, you want to have a different phone number that still rings to your office, but is tracked separately so you can know what's working. Then you want to match the information that's coming as a lead to your practice management system. Then you can review the information and make adjustments. We call that marketing ROI, and it really is a powerful way to make sure that you're maximizing your marketing spend. Here's an example of a customer who uses our marketing ROI program, and this program is available in a lot of different companies, but ours is one of them. Here's just really quickly, in this particular time frame, I think it was from January to June, or January to April, they have $1.7 million of combined patient revenue, 797 leads, 256 patients, and their conversion rate of leads to patients was 32%. And that's interesting, but they can also determine what the different advertising campaigns, which ones provide the most, the highest level of conversion and the most dollars. So for instance, they have targeted forms on their website, and so they had a 71 leads, 30 patients. People also, they had their phone number, and if you went directly to their website and dialed the full phone number, they could track that and determine how much revenue that they had. They also do radio ads, another website phone campaign. So every time, they had a referral flyer that they only had 3 leads from it and no conversion. So guess what it told them? That flyer is really, it may be low cost, but it's also low benefit. So really being able to see how much money you're making on a given customer will help you make better, a given patient help you make better decisions. Also, the ability to listen to recorded calls is a powerful way to make sure that you're not losing patients who are interested. Imagine this scenario where a person, goes to your website or sees a pay-per-click ad and calls your office, and they call the office and they say, I'm really interested in how much it costs to do implants, and the person at the front desk says, well, you got to come in. We really can't give you that quote. Oh, okay, thank you, and then they're hung up. Well, this is a potential lead, someone who's actually called your office and was interested in whether or not you do implants, how well you do them, a whole myriad of questions. And being able to listen to those calls will help you do better staff training and make changes to improve the process so that you don't lose potential patients on things that you're spending money. So you're spending these marketing dollars to get them to call or click, and then you lose them because maybe the messaging isn't right, or maybe you need a better phone presence. So this is a really powerful way of being able to track leads to revenue. So in summary, I just want to make sure that we that I just wrap up exactly what's important. First of all, having an integrated marketing strategy between traditional and online is becoming more important. you should be able to really consider migrating more of your marketing dollars to online advertising or marketing methods. It's important that you measure what you spend. So being able to track everything that you spend, and you'll have some linkage, but more and more trying to understand where your money is being spent on marketing and whether or not it's working is becoming more important and becoming easier to do with online tools. And you really want to enhance your visibility, your online presence through software tools. And lastly, this is kind of big to do, and some of them you can do yourself. I talked to a dentist just the other day who does his own search engine optimization because he thinks, he loves playing around with his website, but engages with a firm to do pay-per-click advertising. So having some combination of determining how much of your time is worth learning and doing versus how much of your time is worth, managing patients and servicing patients is something you should decide. But consider engaging an expert like Prosites in website design and marketing to help you. So thanks. I just want to make sure that you know that as a member of this webinar, we always do have specials for you participating and listening to me talk for almost 45 minutes. So please get in touch with us. Call an account advisor to answer any questions that you have. The number there is there on the screen. Or if you have questions, you can email us also. I really appreciate taking the time to be able to talk about marketing and improving your return on investment. And don't hesitate to reach out to us because we can help, even if you just have questions. So what I'm going to do right now is just take a few minutes to look at the chat feature and see if you have any questions, if you have any anything that you want to ask, anything that I may have missed. I think it's a questions box. Maybe it's a questions box. Yeah, there you go. So you have a questions box somewhere on your panel. So if you have any questions, I'm going to just sit by for a few minutes and see if you have any questions. If not, you're free to exit the webinar. I want to remind those who maybe came in late that this webinar is recorded, as well as the PowerPoint presentation is going to be available, and we will make sure that you get access to it. You don't have to do anything. It's just going to happen for you. Otherwise, this ends the audio portion of our webinar, and I'll just stand by and take any questions online that you have. Thanks, and I hope you have a great weekend. Okay, so for those of you who are still there, I've been advised to just answer any question, a couple of questions, and maybe you'll have some other questions. So someone asked, how long does it take to set up a website and everything that we've talked about? It kind of varies. So setting up a website with Prosites literally takes minutes. You can get up and running in a few minutes, and then it takes a day or two to get your domain over. And then we spend time just making sure we optimize the content. So please just call an account advisor. We can do this pretty quickly with you. You can go to our website at prosites.com and pick a style, pick a theme, and you'll be surprised how quickly it is for you to have a compelling website. By the way, that's for a general website, but we also do semi-custom websites and custom websites, so make sure that you take a look at all of the different website options we have. But in general, it takes just literally minutes for you to get up and running. I have a question that asks, what does branding your business mean, and what's the difference between keywords and keywords phrases? So those are two different pieces. First of all, branding your business includes think about your logo, the colors that you want, and the key marketing messages that you want when you talk about your practice. That's really what branding means, and it's the type of thing that you want to go through your business cards, through your print advertising, on your website, on your Facebook page. That's what I mean by branding. Having a consistent brand across all of your different marketing vehicles is important. Second is what's the difference between keywords and keyword phrases. So a keyword is something like implants. That's a keyword. A keyword phrase is low-cost implants, or implants, or full-mouth veneers. Those are keyword phrases that more and more become important, especially when people are becoming smarter in their search, because we as consumers now have become more compelling. I was looking for restaurants in New York for this summer, and so I won't just type New York restaurants anymore. I'll type Italian restaurants in Times Square. That's a keyword phrase. I think someone just also asked me about 1.7 million. Somewhere along the way I talked about 1.7 million. So I'll try to find, 1.7 million was how much revenue was made by that doctor during that time period for his 256 patient leads. That's what that combined revenue means, and that's a combination of the revenue that they made from the patient as well as insurance costs. So that's what that particular 1.7 million represented. As a matter of fact, I think that company has changed it to put $1.7 million because that was confusing. So the software today now shows $1.7 million. And lastly, there was a question about the average cost of a website. So it really is important that you call Prosites at the number here, but we're pretty compelling in terms of our pricing for a general website, but pricing varies between having a website, search engine optimization, pay-per-click, and you really should take a look at how do you use one or the other or some combination. And as with most companies, we have bundles that we offer that will make the price compelling for you, whether or not you just want to get started with a website, which is a low-cost option, all the way to you're in a highly competitive market and you want to dominate the market. So please give them a call, and we're happy to go through all of the different pricing options that we have. I hope that helped by answering the questions. I apologize for people who had left, but are there any other questions? Okay, so we'll try it again. This time I will end the audio portion. I'll stay around for a little bit longer online just in case there are other questions. And again, have a good weekend.